Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2021 season. As we look ahead to the round 13, but it could be any round because we don't play games, clash against the Wigan Warriors this Sunday evening at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Kev, it's Derby week, and be perfectly honest, I'd booked a table to go to the Bottle and Glass on Sunday for Sunday dinner with the family. And then all of a sudden I see a tweet from you saying we're playing Wigan on Sunday. And I'm like, cancel.
It's a good job we've both got access to that Twitter account then, isn't it? It's a good job you read the tweets.
You know, when you just
like Derby week?
It's a mental block.
Yeah.
I don't know. But when games are getting cancelled all over the show and the Euros are on, you just seem to forget. So, yes, Thanks for informing me, Kev, that we actually played this Sunday. For some reason, I thought it was next week.
No, Wakefield next week. Wakefield away. Doesn't feel like Derby week, though.
Doesn't feel like a rugby league season, Kev, to be perfectly honest.
No, well, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. That's it. A couple of games called off. No real cohesion to it, is there? So, it's probably the most low-key Derby week we've had, isn't it?
Is it quite worrying though, Kev? Aside from generally the hardcore fans who obviously will know when we play week in, week out, date, time, the lot, is it a little bit of a concern now that because of COVID and fans not being fully back in the grounds, games being called off left, right and centre, is it a worry that the floating fans won't come back?
Yeah, definitely. That's it. Wigan were trying to give tickets away and general sale. I know they're allowed a couple more in the ground than we are just because of capacity sizes. But there is the worry. And I'm not putting that down to Wigan currently being in a bit of a bad place with regards to performances. I think you're right. Listen, all things being equal, we'd be out of the current situation now and we'd have a full house on Sunday. But because people are in two minds about what they can do, what they can't do, what's going on, what's right to do, what's wrong to do in their own minds. I'm not saying that from a legal point of view as well, just their own kind of thoughts about things. People will kind of stop turning around and going, you know what, I will go on to Saints tonight. I'll get a taxi out and there's a couple going, so I'll be able to go and stand with them. People will start doing that, unfortunately. Hopefully sooner rather than later we can kind of get people back into the groove of doing it. And one thing that I think we're going to have to do once we can allow people back into the grounds is make sure that the lost generation or potential lost generation of fans, i.e. the younger lot and your teenagers and people like that, it's worth them coming to the game. And it's cost effective for them. It's cost effective for everybody. But just turning around and saying, right, you know what, we're going to dish out a load of free tickets to schools and what have you, and get the likes of the away end that don't get filled for your likes of Wakefield, Catalan, teams like that. Get it filled. Get it filled. We've done it before on community days. Do it again. Muted.
It pause record then, Kev, instead of the unmute button, so you couldn't even hear what I said.
No.
Yeah, listen, we've started off with a little bit of a negative there, and probably unintentionally so. I think, do you know what? I think it's just we missed the routine in our life of a game every week, knowing that you get to the end of the working week and you can look forward to that game on a Friday night. So hopefully, do you know what? Hopefully it'll go back to normal as quick as the world turned to.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. The kind of, as you say, the I don't know, the almost monotony of it. You miss that. You miss being settled. You miss just being able to, as you say, you get in from work, you have your routine, and then you go to the game. Or if we're going to an away game, you'll turn around and say, I'll pick you up at 4 o'clock for an away game in Yorkshire. I know you're only turning up about 4:15 if I'm lucky. And I missed that. Listen, yeah. The quicker,
I miss you too, Kevin.
The quicker we're back to that, the better.
Right. Let's stop, Kev. Let's have 5 seconds and let's start again. It's Derby week. It's Wigan on Sunday. Bring it on. Wigan are terrible. Saints, less so. Are we going to win 75-0?
No.
No. We spoil that one.
76.
Yeah, given the nature of the way the season is at the moment, obviously we got called off against Cass on Wednesday. Actually, no, we didn't. We won 24-0. Wigan got hammered at home against Warrington, and then they've got this short turnaround ahead of the game on Sunday. I know everybody says form goes out the window when it's a derby game, but let's be honest, it shouldn't on Sunday, should it?
No. The only thing that does worry me, and it didn't worry Christian Wolf, is the fact that we have been so stop-start. I know we're going to have had this close turnaround, but the fact that we haven't had some games that should be in there, and we've got players who've had little bits of injuries here and there named in the squad, lads who've got injured for England, and all fans of other clubs obviously think Saints doctors are also the England doctors. We've had people like that. We've got Mark Percival coming back in. There's a couple of people like Joel Thompson is 50-50. That does worry me a bit that we're not going to be sharp. And I think with the likes of Wigan, we've got to, I think we say this pretty much every time, that first 20 minutes is key. Little stat for you that I got from Bill Cole, Wigan RL fans, is on, was it Wednesday night? That was the 9th time they'd got to the 20th minute without scoring.
That is
so the first 20, yeah, that's it. It's not even my stat, but it's a good one, isn't it? I think that also, I know Lee have played 2 games more, but I'm sure Lee have outscored Wigan as well in the league so far, even though they've not won a game. So to me, it's important that we go out there and that first 20 minutes, lay the marker down, get a couple of tries on the board and settle us back down again.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Bilko, Wigan RL fans on Twitter, top Wigan fan. Always says it how it is, win or lose. A lot of respect for him. But then on Twitter, we've been asked why we haven't done a video, a collaboration with Wigan Fan TV. Somebody really enjoyed it the other year. The answer to that is they've disappeared. They're nowhere really to be seen. I don't think they've put a video out in months. I think it coincides with Wigan being not very good.
Fair enough.
If anybody knows where they are and they want to do a video on a collaboration, we're here every week.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. It's listen, it's we would do. We chat to quite a few of the podcasts and that going round, as you'll see, like usually at the start of the season, we have a chat to them, but then never really hear after. They must watch these videos and like some of our own fans, not like us. Do some people's heads in.
Most people don't like us, Kev.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, right. We'll look at the teams, bring them up. There's our squad, Kev. I'll let you talk us through it.
You're not going to start mucking about with your little pointy...
Me what?
...seals, are you?
I'm not.
Out. Seen a couple of people tweeting us saying they would leave Percy out to make sure he's 100% for the final. I can't say that I disagree more with that because I think Percy needs game time. I don't think you kind of leave him out, put him in against Wakefield and then hope he'll be all right in the final. I think he needs game time. If you do want to leave people out, then fair enough, but this is a big game against our big rivals. I don't think you can go into this with half a team missing.
Is this the cup final prep game? Is this the game you go with the 17 that you essentially plan on playing against Castleford in 2 weeks, and then obviously play me and you at Wakey next Friday?
Yeah, possibly so. I think you go as strong as you can. And then if you do need to rest any little knocks or anything like that, you can do next week. You might not go full reserve team against Wakefield, but if you've got people who are carrying a little bit of a knock here and there, then I wouldn't even put them on coach or in a car over to Wakefield. But this weekend, they need that game time.
Poor old Lewis Dodd was going to get the start on Wednesday against Cass. May find himself back on the bench again this week. Maybe he gets the start at Wakefield next week.
I think he probably does get the start at Wakefield. I'm wondering if he'll get a game, if he'll be in the 17 on Sunday, unless Lomax is left out again. Like he was left out of the squad for the Cass game, wasn't he? Because of the injury he picked up in England training. I wonder whether he'll get a spot on the bench, because if we go first choice here, then your 1 to 5, well, your 1 to 9 start. So that means Wellesby drops to the bench, and then possibly comes on after 50 minutes, 60 minutes for Purcell.
Okay, we'll move on to the Wigan squad. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. They're not very good, are they?
They're missing quite a few there, aren't they? That's it. My thing about Wigan is they're always going to try and come at you. I mean, they conceded quite a few interception tries, didn't they, against Warrington? So they were in the right area, but then a loose pass. Hopefully, they're not better for that and learning that. But that's a team who look like they're missing quite a few.
I was going to say the squad numbers make it look like they're missing quite a few as well.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you're missing, like, as you say, you're 1, 2, 3, 6, 13.
Evan French, John Bateman,
yeah.
2 massive misses.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And then your likes of Zach Hardacre as well, who you're missing. And it's big. It is big for them missing all those players.
Morgan Smithies, another one.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've got to kind of check that out. You play who you put up against, and we've just got to go at them. And as I say, dominate them first 20, 30 minutes, dominate them, and just try and play. Don't try and stay in the game. Try and throw it out a little bit. Try and create the space. Try and create overlaps against them, because there are still young lads in that team who hopefully we can exploit a bit of inexperience there.
Obviously, with Catalan going really well at the top of the table, Warrington showing their usual cup-winning mid-season form, and then the Saints, are Wigan potentially vying for that 4th spot? And this week, another loss makes it 5 on the bounce for them. I was going to say, have they got a chance to miss out to the playoffs? It's gone to 6, obviously, but Wigan outside the top 4.
Yeah, possibly so. That's it. You can't keep losing games. You keep losing games, you're in trouble. I mean, that's one of the most obvious things I'm going to say. I don't think fans are that happy with how it's been going as well with the performances. I think it's one of them that if they were putting in a decent performance and just getting shaded every so often, then I think they wouldn't be happy with the results, but they'd at least see where they're going. As I say, I think not having your first choice a lot of your first choice picks there actually does go something towards that, though, doesn't
it? We can't really say much about that Wigan side. They've been quite frankly awful in recent weeks. Are you surprised that Adrian Lam is still there?
No, not at the minute, because I think if you sack him and you've got to pay him off at the minute, I think that might be too rich for some clubs. I think you start sacking people and having to give them lump sums to go. I think that is too rich for some clubs at the minute, and some clubs will just say, you know what, we'll see the season out and then see, have an iron in the fire of who's available. And I've just seen what you've done there, yeah.
Clever.
But that's it. They've got some good. The young lads, though, they have still got some good players there. That Pierce Paul's been impressive over the past couple of weeks. and Harry Smith as well. A couple of mistakes, but again, he is still a good player, isn't he? He's still got potential.
So, 48 hours from the big game. The big question is, Kev, will the game happen?
Yes, it will go ahead.
In other news out today that Lachlan Coote is likely to depart to Hull KR at the end of the season. Again, the surprise from my point of view, and supposedly yours as well, is that obviously all the talk was of him returning home for family reasons. Obviously, he's going to stay in the UK and go round again. Is it a case of a player at the end, coming to the end of his career? It's going to probably be his last deal, maximising his value and getting what he can for his at the end of the day to see him through, and given he's won and hopefully will win the Challenge Cup in a couple of weeks, and so we'll have won the lot here. Is it just got to be a player looking after number one, and number one is him and his family? Yeah,
I think that's exactly what it is. We've just mentioned about finances in these times. Listen, if we've turned around and said we think you're worth, we'll say a year at X amount, however much he's on now, and Hull KR have said, well, we'll give you 2 and we'll give you a pay rise. He's coming towards the end of his career. Why don't you take that money? Yeah, you're right. I put the tweet out before about not being able to comprehend it. That was exactly as you say, purely down to the fact that I thought he'd either sign a year or go home.
And that's the thing, Kevin, as well. Like as you say, in terms of length of contract, if our long-term plan is we want to get the likes of Jack Wells being at fullback, Lewis Dodd in the halves, we can't afford to be giving aging players a 2-year deal on big money. Maybe we did want to keep Lachlan Coote, but how much do we value him in that position? As you say, was it maybe 12 months on reduced money? At the end of the day, we've got a lot of young lads we want to keep at the club and sign up. And people say, "Oh, obviously, our Saint Skins." I'm sure we're probably one of the teams in Super League who do and will continue to spend the salary cap. But you've got to trust the powers that be in the club to give the right deals out for the right length of time, and not get caught up in what players have done over the years and be sentimental. And at the end of the day, by being not necessarily brutal, but being honest and being able to correctly judge a player's value, means that we've stayed at the top of the table and not done what the likes of Warrington have done and threw big money at aging Aussies who've come out of retirement only to see them retire after 6 games.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Just before I go on to talk about all that, the Greg Inglis thing, this video will have lasted longer than his career over here. And it's sad to see, because he's an all-time great. That goes without question. He's an all-time great. But he's been medically retired for so long. And I feel sorry for the people who've kind of bought into buying his shirts and watching him and being able to say, oh, I've seen Greg Inglis in a Warrington shirt. To me, that's akin to, you know what? A couple of years ago, I saw U2. I didn't. I saw Zoo 2 at Chicago Rock. It was a pale imitation of what it was. And it's a shame that coming over here after a couple of years medically retired.
I've seen Gazza in an Everton shirt.
I've seen him in a Burnley shirt. So I win that one, I think.
Yeah. And it wasn't the Gazza most people remember.
No.
The best performance there was Gazza standing on top of the ball. And I think it was against Scunthorpe or somebody in the FA Cup in the 3rd round, and he absolutely blitzed the game against 4th division opposition. And that was the highlights. Yeah, there we go.
Well, just going back to what you say about like having youngsters, so the likes of Jack Wellsby, who I think they'll try at fullback. I think it seems like he's the first choice to go back into there when Lachlan's missing a game. But I just made a quick list just before we came on. November 2020, we gave Morgan Knowles and Matty Lees new deals until the end of 2022. In March of this year, Josh Sim till the end of 2022, Alex Walmsley to the end of 2024, April, Johnny Lomax, end of 2024, May, Regan Grace, end of next season, June, Jack Welsby, 2024, Tommy Makinson, 2024, Parsi is the end of 2022. So you've got all these deals that have been, I mean, Sione Matautiu as well signed a deal 2024, the next 3 years. You've got all these people signing new deals. This is where, I suppose, from the outside and not knowing exactly what people are on and how it all fits under the salary cap, people are at a disadvantage. And they just think, like, as you say, getting the tweeting saying we must be skint. No, it's every player has a set value. And that will be based on age, ability, experience, everything like that. And as you get older, if you're taking up a lot of the wage, that will, your value to the club may well go down very quickly. So as we say, if we turn around and say Lachlan Coote is worth X amount to Saints now, his new contract might only be worth 3/4 of X. It might be worth that X amount again. It's certainly not worth 2 times his contract again, is it?
It's like when you build a team, Kev, when you're doing fantasy football at the start of a season or fantasy rugby at the start of the season, and you get given your salary cap, you're 10 million to spend on players. In that team of 11 or your rugby 13, they're not the best 13 players in the comp who you'd pick. You have to mix and match and go accordingly. If you want to keep the likes of your Alex Walmsleys, your Morgan Knowles, your Regan Grace, your Tommy Makinson for another year, you need to make sacrifices elsewhere. But equally, you've got youngsters. Jack Welsby, with what he's done, isn't going to stay on a cheap contract forever. He's going to want paying. And do you pay him, or do you pay a Lachlan Coote for a couple of years, who's going to be 32 at the start of next season?
Yeah, and let's put it this way. Let's put this out there as well. Lachlan Coote's been brilliant for us, and he remains to be one of our most influential players. And this isn't bagging him because he may or may not have decided to go over to Hull KR at all. But you're right. Saints are a club who bring youth through. We always have been. I'd imagine we always will be. So you're not telling me that Morgan Knowles, Matty Lees, Josh Sim, Alex Walmsley, Johnny Lomax, Regan Grace, Jack Welsby, Tommy Makinson, those people whose names are read out who signed contracts within the past 8 or 9 months have not had some kind of increase there. They're not. I know you've got players going into the 30s there, Johnny Lomax, I'm looking at Tommy Makinson, Alex Walmsley. You have got older players, but they'll have had some kind of incentive to sign again. So that's it. You're right. You've got to cut your cloth accordingly. You can't turn around and just keep giving the same money to the same players, because if it was, oh, you've got to keep them on because they're a good lad, who would we still have at the club? They didn't do anything wrong. Well, you might still end up with Jamie Foster, Lee Gaskell, Andrew Dixon, Matty Ashurst, all lads who've done nothing wrong, but have been seen to be, well, we've got someone else coming through, or we're going to sign someone else in, who unfortunately is better, because this is how sport works. Sport is the case of, we need the best player for the money, especially rugby league. We need the best player for the money we can afford for that position.
And equally, with the likes of Lachlan, it might be a case of we've gone to him, listen, we're only going to give you a 12-month deal. Okay, Saints, so in 12 months, we're going to get another deal. And they've been brutally honest and say, listen, no, this is the direction we're going to move in as a club. And I think as a player, if for me, I'd appreciate that honesty. Saints could have turned around and said, yeah, we're only going to give maybe 12 months at a time. Next year, if you're playing well, we'll do it again. And in 12 months to time, screw someone over. Whereas he can look at it and go, thanks for your honesty.
I'm going to go see what I can get.
Yeah, and I've been offered 2 years. I want to continue playing for 2 years. In 12 months' time, I potentially I could get an injury, and that might be my career over. You've got to do what's best. So, listen, I've got absolutely no issue with even James Bentley, a younger player. Who, it's not like football where is the I was going to say, is that much difference between 150,000 and 200,000 pound a week? Well, there is if you haven't got it. But you know what I mean. Footballers are set for life, and whereas Dennis Betts is running a post office, a legend of the game. I was reading an article before, so these lads have got a plan for future careers. It's not a job where you're going to retire and live out the rest of your life sat on a beach. So yeah, if Lachlan's managed to go and get himself 2 years at Hull KR, fair play to the lads. And you know what? Next season, when he comes back to the Totally Wicked Stadium in an opposition jersey, I'm sure he'll have his sung just as loudly. Sung just as loudly.
Yeah, you're right, and that's it. People will turn around and say, "Oh, if we knew this was happening, do you think we could have made James Bentley stay?" Possibly. Probably not. Probably he wants to go and play for his hometown club. And not only that, I think Saints do the work on the quiet as well. So where people turn around and listen, we've got a big rebuilding project coming up here, because we're potentially losing Theo Farge as well, add to this mix. Joel Thompson's going to go home. So there's quite a few. You think Kevin Nagama is looking like he is going to go home as well. Saints will be doing their work on the quiet. They don't come out, because the last thing you want is, as we've said all the way through this, you don't want to turn around to someone. Matt Duffy's the name that keeps getting pinged about. I don't think we'll sign Matt Duffy, because I think we'll go down the route of sticking Jack Wellsby at fullback. But you don't want to be linked loudly to him, because then his agent just goes to NRL clubs or other clubs in Super League and say, Saints have offered this amount, and then you get other clubs going, right, okay, well, we're going to offer more. Then you're gazumped, or you've got to pay more than you want to for that player. You might be able to afford it, but then your plan just goes a little bit skew-if, because then you've got to recruit into the second row or your centres with someone who you didn't quite want.
The most likely thing, Kev, is that the likes of Matt Duffy, his agents will say, Lachlan Coote's not signed a deal with Saints. I'll link him to Saints. I'll let people put 2 and 2 together, get 5, and he'll drive up his value for his deal in Australia. No, it is what it is, and you're right. And I'm sure we will get new signings, and they'll come out of a left field, and they'll just suddenly be announced. But yeah, it is what it is, and we'll just wait and see what happens going on. Put the world to rights on that a little bit. Exactly. Right, Kev. I cancelled my table at the weekend.
Good. Time you picking me up then.
In time, Kev.
Yeah, in time.
Right. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will catch you for another instant fan reaction on Sunday evening, hopefully, after a derby win. Catch you soon.